If you've ever had a problem to solve, any kind, perhaps it's physical health issues, perhaps it's a plumbing issue in your house, or any other issue in your house, or anything that you're trying to address or resolve, the one thing that we often look for is the signs and symptoms of any given problem. So what's interesting is when we're faced with a, let's say, physical challenge, we often ignore our signs and symptoms that may seem obvious or perhaps even quite apparent to someone else. Let's say that is a healthcare practitioner, and being one, having had an opportunity to work with thousands of people, I've observed this phenomenon. So the interesting thing is that we either ignore the issues, some signs and symptoms, or we simply don't acknowledge them. So one of the things that I wanted to highlight in this conversation is that it is important to identify those signs and symptoms, again, regardless of the problem, whether it's physical health or not. And how do we look for those signs and symptoms? Well, it requires time to contemplate and to really ponder what it is that we're sitting with. One of the best ways by which we can identify signs and symptoms is actually, or at least feel inspired and be inspired, is by walking. So I'm currently, as you can tell, on a short walk. I have my dog with me. And what's interesting about walking is that when you walk, you are engaging both hemispheres of the brain. What's interesting about that is that different parts of the brain, of course, are responsible, or at least allow us to process information in different ways. And so inspiration or new ideas or new downloads, if you would, come to us when we walk. And the reason that happens to be the case is because as I move my left leg, my right hemisphere of the brain is processing that information. As I move my right leg, the opposite side of the brain. And then the other important thing about walking is that when you sway your arms back and forth, as you normally would, that also engages both hemispheres of the brain. So what I wanted to ultimately encourage you to do is, if you're faced with a problem, what you do is you actually put the image of the problem in front of you, in front of your third eye, if you would, or in front of your visual field in your mind's eye, and you walk, and you walk, and you contemplate without even almost thinking. And I guarantee you, a download of sorts or a solution to that problem will arrive. It naturally happens. It's a physiological phenomenon. So whether you are addressing your health issue or any kind of issue they're trying to solve at work, or creatively speaking, I would encourage you to simply walk. That is a beautiful way to solve a problem. Until next time, be well.